I'm Brother Boyd from the Israel of God, coming to you teaching the Word of God by subject and titles. This is the beginning of Black History Month. And instead of just dealing with slave history like we have been accustomed to since we been in this country, we want to look at real Black history. So we're going to look at Black history told by the prophets. Black history told by the prophets, part 1, color. Because sisters and brothers, it's always the big nation of who are the Israelites or who are the Jews. So we're going to go and show you Israel by comparing them to people of other people in the creation. Now, Israel, we're going to show you that are black folks. But all black people are not Israelites. And that's something we need to understand too. But we're going to go and look at this. We're going to deal with this Black history told by the prophets. We're going to start with part 1, and that is color. Now we're going to start in Genesis, the 10th chapter, dealing with the sons of Noah. Genesis 10 and 1. Go ahead.
Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And unto them were sons born after the flood.
Now out of these 3 boys came all of the people that populate this planet. Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And they was born, and these are sons that populated the whole earth. Go ahead and read.
The sons of Japheth, Gomer, and Magog, and Madai, and Javan, and Tubal, and Meshach, and Tyrus. And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. And the sons of Javan, Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. By these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue, after their families, in their nation.
Now, you have heard the old statement saying that if you're not a Jew, you're a Gentile. That can't be further from the truth. The Gentiles have nothing to do with Jews, sisters and brothers. The Gentiles are the children of Japheth. Europeans are either what we just simply call white people. Those are the Gentiles. Go ahead and read.
And the sons of Ham, Cush, and Mizraim, Put, and Canaan.
Now, these are sons of Ham. Cush, that's Ethiopia. Mizraim, that's Egypt. Then we have Canaan. We're not concerned with Put and Canaan, but Put is Libya, and Canaan are the ones whose land that God gave to us. These are the sons of Ham. All of these are black people. Go ahead and read.
And the sons of Cush, Sheba, and Havilah, and Sabta, and Reamah, Septeka, and the sons of Reamah, Sheba, and Dedan. And Cush begot Nimrod.
Go ahead.
He began to be a mighty one in the earth.
Now, and out of Cush came Nimrod. That Cush is Ethiopia, sisters and brothers. Skip down to verse 10. Go ahead.
And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Erech, and Akkad, and Chaldea, and the land of Shinar. Out of the land went forth Asher, and builded Nineveh, and the city Rehoboth, and Calah.
Now, I'm going here to let you know that the city of Nineveh, the Ninevites, the Assyrians, they came out of Cush. These are black folks, sisters and brothers. Go and skip now to verse 13 and go ahead.
And Mizraim begot Ludim, and Anamin, and Lehabim, and Nephtahim.
This is Egypt. You got all these. Go ahead.
And Pathusim, and Cashulim, and out of whom came Philistim, and Caphtorim.
Now, out of Egypt came the Philistines. So you seen Philistines on TV, they're all white, and all the Philistines are black too, sisters and brothers. Just like when David was facing off Goliath, Goliath was a Philistine from the son of Anak. It was a big black man facing off a small black man. So now, but we're going to get around to Israel because we want to let you know that Israel looks like these people that we just got through reading about. So we're going to start with Israel. Let's go in the 37th chapter of Genesis, these of Jacob and his sons, because we're going to work our way and show you how we have interacted with the sons of Ham. Genesis 37, and let's start reading at verse 1. 37 and verse 1. Okay, go ahead.
And Jacob dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger, in the land of Canaan.
Now Jacob dwelt in the land of Canaan, among Ham's 4 sons. Go ahead and read.
These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah, with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives.
Go ahead.
And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report.
So Joseph wasn't liked by his brother because he used to tell off on him. But in another thing, Joseph's father favored him. Go ahead and read.
Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and made him a coat of many colors.
Go ahead.
And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him and could not speak peaceably unto him.
So they hated Joseph because he used to tell on them, and also his father favored them. But then Joseph had another thing. He was a dreamer of dreams. Skip now to verse 13 and go ahead.
And Israel said unto Joseph, do not thy brethren feed the flock of Shechem?
Now what happened was Joseph's brother was gone to feed the flock, and so his brothers hated him, this dreamer of dreams. So now his father going to send him down now to check on his brothers. And let's see what happened when he said, go check on your brothers. Read that 13 again. Go ahead and read.
And Israel said unto Joseph, do not thy brother feed the flock in Shechem?
Go ahead.
And come, and I will send thee unto them. And he said unto him, here am I.
He said, I'm going to send you unto your brothers. I want you to go in and check on him. And when his brothers saw him, let's see what happened when he showed up. Skip down to verse 23. Go ahead.
And it came to pass, when Joseph was coming to his brethren, that they stripped Joseph out of his coat of many colors that was on him. And they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty. There was no water in it.
Now, when Joseph's father, Jacob, sent him down there to check on his brothers hated him. So they said, we're going to kill him. The oldest brother said, no, let's don't do that. And he said, let's put him in a pit somewhere. So they put him in a pit where there was no water in it. And let's see what happened once how he got out of that pit. Skip down to verse 28 and go ahead.
Then there passed by Midianites, merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, and they brought Joseph into Egypt.
So that lets you know the first Israelite that was sold by Israelites. And he was sold to the Midianites. And what did the Midianites do? They bought him, and they took Joseph down to Egypt. Joseph was 17 years old at the time. So let's see what happened when they got to Egypt. Skip down to verse 36 and go ahead.
And the Midianites sold him into Egypt unto Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's and captain of the guard.
So now Joseph was sold to the Midianites. The Midianites took Joseph down and sold him to the Egyptians. Now Joseph is in Egypt. Now, Joseph rose to prominence in Egypt, sisters and brothers. And when he rose to prominence, his brother went down there to see him. But how did Joseph rise to prominence? Is because he was a dreamer of dreams. And he dreamed dreams, and he had a couple of inmates that was with Joseph because they sold him sent him to jail, and he told them they dreamed. So now, Pharaoh dreamed a dream, and could nobody in his realm interpret these dreams. So let's look at it. Let's go into Genesis, the 41st chapter. Because Joseph first, he was a servant in a captain's house, and then this Egyptian captain's wife made a play for him. He wouldn't deal with her. She lied on him, and the man was mad and put him in jail. And now while he was in jail, he interpreted these dreams. So now, one of them was getting out. He said, look, when you get out, remember me. But the guy forgot about Joseph until Pharaoh needed an interpreter. 41:1. Go ahead.
And it came to pass at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh dreamed, and behold, he stood by the river. And behold, there came up out of the river.
He stood by the river. We're not going to deal with the dream. But let's see what happened. Skip down to verse 14. Because he dreamed a dream, and he told the contents of the dream, but couldn't nobody handle it. He called all his wise people together. They couldn't handle it. So finally, this guy told him about Joseph. Okay, what's that, verse 14 or verse 8?
Verse 8.
Verse 8, go ahead and read.
And it came to pass in the morning that his spirit was troubled, and he sent and called for all the magicians of Egypt, and all the wise men thereof. And Pharaoh told them his dream, but there was none that could interpret them unto Pharaoh.
So now he brought all his wise men, could nobody interpret the dream. So finally, Joseph was mentioned, and Pharaoh called Joseph. Skip down to verse 14 and go ahead.
Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him hastily out of the dungeon. And he shaved himself and changed his raiment and came in unto Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I have dreamed a dream, and there's none that can interpret it.
Now he said, I'm dreaming a dream, Joseph, and ain't nobody can interpret it. Go ahead.
And I've heard say of thee that thou canst interpret a dream, thou canst understand a dream to interpret it.
And I was told that you can interpret a dream. So that's what I'm looking for. That's why you're here. Go ahead on, verse 16.
And Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, It is not in me. God shall give Pharaoh an answer of peace.
Now that's what, and he told him, and he started interpreting his dream and told him what to do. Skip down to verse 29. Verse 29 and go ahead.
Behold, there come 7 years of great plenty throughout all of the land of Egypt. And there shall arise after them 7 years of famine, and all the plenty shall be forgotten in the land of Egypt, and the famine shall consume the land.
He said, so your dream was telling you that you're going to have 7 years of a whole lot of bumper crops. I mean, everything's going to be producing right. You're going to have an abundance of food. But then 7 years, and then after that, then you're going to have 7 years that's going to have a drought, and the drought is going to eat up all of your prosperity. So I'm going to give you some advice. This is what you should have to do. You should point somebody and put them over this to take care of this matter. Skip down to verse 29. Verse 29 and go ahead. Verse 33, rather, and go ahead. Verse 33, go ahead.
Now, therefore, let Pharaoh look out a man discreet and wise and set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh do this and let him appoint officers over the land and take up the 5th part of the land of Egypt in the 7 plenteous years.
He said, so now set a man over the ram. While you having these good years, collect wheat and corn and all kind of grain and store it up so you be prepared for this bad time that's coming, this great drought. So skip down to verse 39. What did Pharaoh do? Go ahead and read.
And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, For as much as God hath showed thee all this, there's none so discreet and wise as thou art.
For as much as God has shown you this, there's none so discreet and wise as thou art. Go ahead and read.
Thou shalt be over my house, and according to unto thy word shall all my people be ruled, one in the throne. Only in the throne will I be greater than thou.
Go ahead. What verse are we now?
That was 40.
Go ahead and read.
And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, See, I have set thee over all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand and put it into Joseph's hand and arrayed him in vestures of fine linen and put a gold chain about his neck.
So Joseph was set over all the land of Egypt. All of it. Now skip right on down to verse 45 and go ahead.
And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zaphat-Nephaniah, and he gave him to wife Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On. And Joseph went out over all the land of Egypt. Now,
so he gave Joseph, not only did he set him over Egypt, he gave Joseph an Egyptian wife. So now, that means that all the children that Joseph had, he had it by this Egyptian woman. Go ahead and read.
And Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went throughout all the land of Egypt.
Now that lets you know. So we're letting you know where Israel got their wives from. First, Joseph got his wife from among the Egyptians. Now, but what about Judah? We're going to back up to Genesis, the 38th chapter, and show you where Judah got his wife from. Because we're dealing with black people here and where Israel got their wives from. Judah, that's Genesis, the 38th, and we're going to start reading at verse 2, 38 and 2. Go ahead.
And Judah saw their daughter of a certain Canaanite whose name was Shua, and he took her and went in unto her. And she conceived and bare a son, and he called his name
Now, that's why he did. This is a Canaanite woman. Skip down to verse 6 now, and go ahead.
And Judah took a wife for his firstborn, whose name was Tamar.
And he took a wife from whose firstborn, his first name, whose name was Tamar. So she was a Canaanite too. So now, Joseph got his wife from among the Egyptians. Judah and most of the older brothers got their wives from among the Canaanites. Now let's go back to 42. Genesis 42. Because now Joseph was over all of the land of Egypt. And this drought that came on, it was over all of the area. Not only in Egypt, it was in Canaan too. So now, Joseph's father, Jacob sent his sons down to buy some food in Egypt. And that's when they ran into Joseph, 42:1. Genesis 42:1. Go ahead.
Now when Jacob saw that there was corn in Egypt, Jacob said unto his sons, why do you look one upon another? And he said, behold, I have heard that there is corn in Egypt. Get you down thither and buy for us from thence, that we may live and not die.
So now that drought had hit the land of Canaan. He said, look, I've heard that there's corn in Egypt. I want you to go down there and buy something so we won't die, because everybody is going to starve to death if we don't go there. Go ahead and read.
And Joseph's 10 brethren went down to buy corn in Egypt.
So they went to buy corn, and they ran into their brother and didn't know it. Skip down to verse 7. Verse 7. Go ahead.
And Joseph saw his brethren, and he knew them, but made himself strange unto them, and spake roughly unto them. And he said unto them, whence come ye? And they said, from the land of Canaan to buy food. And Joseph knew his brethren, but they knew him not.
See, but Joseph was talking rough to him because they didn't know him, but he knew them. Remember, Joseph, when he left, he was 17 years old. So he had to be close to 49 when they got there. And they didn't know what was going on. In fact, because he was 30 when he was set over the realm of Egypt. Then you had 7 years of bad time. That was 37. And they came when this good time, rather. That was 37. And when the bad time come, he was at least 38, 39 years old. So they didn't know him. So, and he carried it on. Skip down to verse 23. Verse 23, and go ahead.
And they knew not that Joseph understood them, for he spake unto them by an interpreter.
See, when Joseph started talking rough to them, he started saying, we getting in trouble. Now, the reason this is happening to us because we done sold our little brother. So now retribution time has come. But they were speaking Hebrew. They didn't know that Joseph understood Hebrew because Joseph spoke to them through an interpreter. So they never knew that there was their brother. They just thought it was a big Egyptian in charge, sisters and brothers. Just let you know, Joseph looked like an Egyptian. If Egypt was black and Joseph was white, somebody would say, wait a minute, something's going on here. They would have said, look here, man, you one of us. Why are you talking to us like this? But no, they thought he was an Egyptian. And in the meantime, he sent and got his father. What verse was that?
We just finished 23.
Let's go now and verse 45. Because Joseph revealed himself to his brother, and then he sent and got his father. 45:1. Genesis 45, we're going to start reading at verse 1. Okay, go ahead.
Then Joseph could not refrain himself before all them that stood by him, and he cried, cause every man to go out from me. And there stood no man with him, while Joseph made himself known unto his brethren. So now, Joseph had played along long as he could, but after a while, I guess his love for his brother overtook him, and then he couldn't hold it no more. Then he told all the Egyptians, go ahead on, leave me here with these guys. Go ahead. And he wept aloud, and the Egyptians in the house of Pharaoh heard.
Go ahead.
And Joseph said unto his brethren, I am Joseph, doth my father yet live?
Ain't that something? Go ahead.
And his brethren could not answer him, for they were troubled at his presence.
And they want to know, now how is this ruler in Egypt that's running all the land of Egypt is Joseph? They was troubled at it. They thought maybe they'd never see him again. But go ahead and read.
And Joseph said unto his brethren, come near to me, I pray you. And they came near. And he said, I am Joseph your brother, whom you sold into Egypt.
He said, I'm Joseph your brother that you sold in Egypt. Yeah, I'm him. Go ahead and read.
Now therefore be not grieved, nor angry with yourselves, that ye sold me hither. For God did send me before you to preserve life.
He said, so this thing that happened to me and what y'all did when you sold me was from God. He sent me here so I could save lives. Because he sent me here to put me over the land of Egypt so I can do what I'm doing. Skip down to verse 9 and go ahead.
Haste ye and go up to my father and say unto him, thus said thy son Joseph, God hath made me Lord of all Egypt. Come down unto me, tarry not.
Now go and tell my father to come to me. Skip down to verse 28 and go ahead.
And Israel said, it is enough. Joseph, my son, is yet alive, I will go and see him before I die.
See, when they went out there and told him Joseph is alive, he didn't believe it. But when they showed him all the stuff that Joseph had sent, he said, okay then, so he is alive, so I'm going to go down to Egypt and see my son. But still, look at what I'm saying. Israel looked just like the Egyptians, so much so until Joseph's brothers could not tell that he was not an Egyptian, not an Israelite, but they thought he was an Egyptian. They couldn't tell, sisters and brothers. Now, in the meantime, when Jacob got out there, Jacob stayed in Egypt and he died in Egypt. So now Jacob had told Joseph, look, I don't want you to bury me in Egypt. I want you to take me back to the land of Canaan and bury me there among my fathers. So he made him promise. So what happened? Joseph had to get a request from Pharaoh. Let me go bury my father. Let's start at Genesis the 50th chapter. Genesis 50 and verse 5. 50 and 5. Go ahead.
My father made me swear, saying, lo, I die. And my grave which I have digged for me in the land of Canaan, there shalt thou bury me. Now therefore let me go up, I pray thee, and bury my father, and I will come again.
Now he had to ask Pharaoh that. So let me go bury my father. And I come back, he made me swear. Go ahead and read.
And Pharaoh said, go up and bury thy father, according as he had made thee swear. And Joseph went up to bury his father, and with him went all the servants of Pharaoh, the elders of his house, and all the elders of the land of Egypt.
Now, when Joseph went up, he just didn't go by himself. Joseph was a big dignitary. So all the elders of Pharaoh's house and a bunch of important people, the Egyptians, went down there with him. Go ahead and read.
And all the house of Joseph and his brethren and his father's house, only their little ones and their flocks and their herds they left in the land of Goshen.
Then all his brothers went up. Now, when they went out now, they made a mourning for Jacob. Go ahead and read.
And there went up with him both chariots and horsemen, and it was a very great company.
Go ahead.
And they came to the threshing floor of Atad, which is beyond Jordan, and there they mourned with a great and very sore lamentation. And he made a mourning for his father 7 days.
Now, when they went out there, they had a great big mourning. They mourned for 7 days. And let's see what the inhabitants of the land thought. Go ahead and read.
And when the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites, saw the mourning in the floor of Atad, they said, this is a grievous mourning to the Egyptians.
This is a grievous mourning to the Egyptian. They didn't say Egyptian and Israelite, to the Egyptian. Go ahead and read.
Wherefore the name of it was called Abel Mizraim, which is beyond Jordan.
Abel Mizraim means the mourning of the Egyptian, sisters and brothers. So when the Canaanites saw, as far as they're concerned, they saw a bunch of Egyptians. Now we're going to look at this picture of the throne room right here of Tutankhamun. Because when you look at Tutankhamun, sisters and brothers, you'll see that what does he look like? This is Tutankhamun right here, this throne room. And when they dealt with the throne room of Tutankhamun, they had some writing down here. I don't know if you can read it, but I'm going to read it anyway. When the tomb of the Egyptian king Tutankhamun was discovered, virtually intact in the 1920s, it yielded a breathtaking collection of art objects from the 14th century BC, just a few years before the Exodus. Just think about it. Just a few years before the Exodus. So now Moses, we're going to show you, passed as one of these guys. Now, this is what the book is telling you about. Egypt and Israel look the same. Now, when he left there. Now, if you look at the other two pictures, you look at the picture of Tutankhamun, just next to that, at the picture of Tutankhamun, just next to that, and then you look at his grandmother, Queen Tai, next to them. All of these are black people, sisters and brothers. These are Egyptians. These are the ones that Israel passed for. Now let's go into Exodus, the first chapter. Because after this, Israel had been down there. They was put in slavery, sisters and brothers. And that's when the Lord was ready to deliver his people. Let's start in Exodus 1 and verse 1. Go ahead and read.
Now these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt. Every man in his household came with Jacob.
Now he's talking about Israel and all that came down with Jacob. Skip down to verse 5 and go ahead.
And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already.
Go ahead.
And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation, and the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly, and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them.
Because Israel started to multiply now. Now think about it. All of these guys that all Israel were down there, but look, it was 70 souls that went down. And how many of them were single? 53 males went down that didn't have no wife. So where did they get their wives from then? They got them from among the Egyptians. Go ahead and read.
Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we.
Go ahead.
Come on, let us deal wisely with them. And lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land.
So now come on, let's deal with these people, because we have a war, they're going to fight against us. Go ahead and read.
Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramesses.
See, now Israel built these treasure cities, sisters and brothers, all these great edifices. Go ahead and read.
But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew.
Now, so they couldn't do nothing to stop Israel from having children. Go ahead and read.
And they were grieved because of the children of Israel.
Now, skip right on down to verse 15 and go ahead.
And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of the one was Shiphrah, the other name were the name of the other Puah.
Go ahead.
And he said, When ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live.
So now they couldn't stop Israel from having babies. So what they did, they went to what you call genocide. We gonna cut them off. How? All you got to do is cut off all the males, because the man carried the seed. So now, if you see a daughter, let her live. If you see a male, kill him. But the midwives wouldn't do that, sisters and brothers. So Pharaoh had to go someplace else. Skip down to verse 22 and go ahead.
And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, Every son that is born you shall cast into the river, and every daughter you shall save alive.
Now, so in the meantime, so that's why Egypt tried to exterminate the nation of Israel. By what? By trying to kill all the males. Because if you had nothing but females left, then if the Egyptian male slept with the female Hebrew, then this child was Egyptian, because you are what your father is. But in the meantime, Moses was born. Let's go into Exodus, the 2nd chapter, and verse 1. Go ahead and read.
And there went a man of the house of Levi, and took to wife a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived and bare a son, and when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months.
Go ahead.
And when she could not longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes, and daubed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein, and she laid it in the flags by the river's brink. And his sister stood afar off to wit what would be done to him. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the river's side. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it.
Now, when the Egyptian was trying to kill all the males, Moses' mother couldn't hide him no longer, so she made a little boat and put him in the flags in the weed at the river brink, right in the edge of the water. And when Pharaoh's daughter came down to wash herself, she saw him. And let's see what happened. Go ahead and read.
And when she had opened it, she saw the child. And behold, the babe wept. And she had compassion on him and said, This is one of the Hebrews' children.
So this is one of the Hebrews' children. And she knew it was a male, but let's see what happened. Skip down to verse 10 and go ahead.
And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son, and she called his name Moses, and she said, Because I drew him out of the water.
So the Egyptian woman named him Moses, means drawn from the water. Go ahead and read.
And it came to pass in those days when Moses was grown that he went out unto his brethren and looked on their burdens and spied an Egyptian smiting an Hebrew, one of his brethren. And he looked this way and that way, and when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian and hid him in the sand.
So Moses always knew he was an Israelite. Always, because his own mother was hired to raise him, and once he was weaned, she gave him to Pharaoh's daughter. So now, Moses was Pharaoh's grandson. And there is no way you could take a grandson of the one that called himself a Jew now to an Egyptian Pharaoh and say, this is your grandson. He said, look, something must be wrong with you. Where did you get this boy? It's all that simple. So he went out there, and when he got grown, what did he do? He went out to visit his people. When he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, what did he do? He killed the Egyptian once he looked around to make sure nobody was looking at him, and he hid him in the sand. But Pharaoh found out about it. Skip down to about verse 15 and go ahead.
Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well.
So now Moses had to run from Egypt because Pharaoh was trying to kill him. So he went to the land of Midian and he sat down by the well. Go ahead and read.
Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water and filled the troughs to water their father's flock. And the shepherds came and drove them away, but Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flock.
Now when the shepherds had probably wait till the women would come and they let them draw the water, they'd run them off and water their flock. But this time Moses was there. He stood up and he helped these Midianite women. Go ahead and read.
And when they came to Reuel their father, he said, how is it that ye are come so soon today? And they said, an Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherd.
Go ahead.
And also drew water enough for us and watered the flock.
Now look what they said, an Egyptian delivered us. They didn't say an Israelite in Egyptian clothing.
Right.
An Egyptian, because we look like Egyptian. He said, so they delivered us and watered our flock. That's why you have people running around telling me Egyptologists, we are Egypt. No, we look like Egyptian. We are not Egyptian. We was enslaved by Egyptians. In fact, those are our first slavers, the children of Ham. Let's go into Psalm, the 105. 105, and we're going to read, start at verse 23. Psalm chapter 105. So this is the thing, sisters and brothers, nothing has changed. In order, when your past is lost and nobody has told you about your history, and you find out about yourself, you do it by comparing yourself to other people, especially if you want to know what you look like. 105 and verse 23. Go ahead.
Israel also came into Egypt, and Jacob sojourned in the land of Ham. And he increased his people greatly and made them stronger than their enemies.
Go ahead.
He turned their heart to hate his people, to deal subtly with his servant.
Now, that's what happened. The Lord increased us. The people started to hate us because they feared us, and so they started they put us in slavery. Go ahead and read.
He sent Moses his servant and Aaron whom he had chosen.
The same Moses that had to run to keep Pharaoh from killing him, he came back. And he met with his brother Aaron to deliver Israel. Go ahead and read.
They showed his signs among them and wonders in the land of Ham.
And they showed all these signs. And eventually killed the firstborn, but they showed them where? In the land of Ham. Most people do not understand that Egyptians are the sons of Ham. So the Lord showed all his signs, ran all kind of miracles, made the water blood, brought 5 down, killed their crops, and eventually he got ready to spring Israel. He killed the firstborn. So let's go into Exodus, the 12th chapter, and look at that. Because remember now, they was in the land of Ham. They looked just like Egyptian. And so much like Egyptian until Moses passed as Pharaoh's grandson. But now the Lord's getting ready to get the last plague to spring his people out of Egypt because the Egyptian had miserably treated them and put them in hard bondage. Exodus 12 and 1. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months.
Now this is going to be unto you the beginning of months. Now skip right on. Go ahead and read.
It shall be the first month of the year to you.
It's the first month of the year to you. Skip down to verse 12 and let's see what's going to happen in that month. Go ahead and read.
For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am the Lord.
No, it's because what I want you to do, I want you to kill a lamb, put the blood on the doorpost, because I'm going to come through Egypt, and I'm going to kill all the firstborn in Egypt. And when I see the blood, I'm going to pass over your house. That's when the Passover was instituted. So let's see what he did. Skip down to verse 29 and read it.
And it came to pass that at midnight the Lord smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on his throne unto the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of cattle.
So now when he came through and killed all the firstborn of Egypt, that's when Pharaoh told him, look here, man, get on out of my country. But what was Egypt? It is the land of Ham. So let's go to Psalms chapter 7, 8, and we're going to read verse 50 and 51. Psalms chapter 7, 8, and verse 50 and 51. Read it.
He made a way to his anger. He spared not their soul from death, but gave their life over to the pestilence.
Go ahead.
And smote all the firstborn in Egypt, the chief of their strength in the tabernacles of Ham.
So when he came through that night of the Passover, he killed all the firstborn of Egypt. And once he killed the firstborn of Egypt, they let him go, sisters and brothers. Killed all the firstborn of Egypt. Now what happened here? What do we have here? We have Joseph went out into Egypt, rose to prominence, brought his whole family down. They grew into a nation of Egypt, of Israelites down there in Egypt. In fact, Moses passed as Pharaoh's son-in-law. So that means that all the Egyptians and all the Israelites are the same color, sisters and brothers. So now let's see what happened when Jesus was born. Because when Herod was trying to kill Jesus, Herod was a Roman vessel. And whatever Herod wanted, all he had to do was go and petition Caesar, and Caesar would have had Jesus delivered up. So let's see what the Lord sent Jesus to hide him. Matthew 2 and verse 1. Go ahead and read.
Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, where is he that is born king of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him.
So these wise men, it didn't say how many, they came and they asked, where is he that's born king of the Jews? Not your personal savior, because we have heard about him. Go ahead, and we've seen his star. Go ahead and read.
When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him.
Now, why was Herod troubled? Because he was king. The Romans had made him king. Skip down to verse 7 and go ahead.
Then Herod, when he had privately called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem and said, go and search diligently for the young child, and when ye have found him, bring me word again, that I may come and worship him also.
Now he's going to act like he wanted to worship him, but he didn't. He wanted to kill him. Skip down to verse 12 and go ahead.
And being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way.
So the Lord told them, look, Herod wanted to kill him. Don't tell him nothing. Go on out. And so they left. Go ahead and read.
And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, arise, and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him.
Look, sisters and brothers, Jesus was sent down into Egypt to hide him. If Jesus was white, like they got all the pictures on the wall, or looked at the people that call themselves Jews, then they would have heard him better had they sent him to Rome, somewhere among the Europeans. But no, they sent him down among the Egyptians because the Egyptians and Israelites look the same. Now let's go at a famous apostle that everybody thinks is more famous than Jesus sometime. Let's go into Acts, the 21st chapter. This is the Apostle Paul. And let's see what happened with him. Acts 21 and start at verse 37. Acts 21, and we're going to start reading at verse 37. Go ahead and read.
And as Paul was to be led into the castle, he said unto the chief captain, May I speak unto thee? Who said, Canst thou speak Greek?
See, they didn't chain Paul to save his life, But Paul wanted to know because the Jews was trying to kill him. So he said, look, I want to speak to the captain. And what he said, and what did this guy say? Can you speak Greek? Go ahead and read.
Art not thou that Egyptian which before these days made us an uproar and led us out into the wilderness 4,000 men that were murderers?
He said, are you not the Egyptian that led out a bunch of rebels that was murderers? Why did he call Paul an Egyptian? Because he thought he was an Egyptian because he looked like an Egyptian. Go ahead and read. Verse 39.
But Paul said, I'm a man which am a Jew of Tarsus, a city in Cilicia, a citizen of no mean city, and I beseech thee, suffer me to speak unto the people.
So now Paul was mistaken for an Egyptian, sisters and brothers. Why would Paul be mistaken for an Egyptian? Because Paul looked like an Egyptian. Then that tells us something else. Brothers run around and say you have to wear fringes. If Paul had been wearing fringes, then the Greek captain would have known that he was an Israelite, no matter what his color was. But being he wore whatever they was wearing at that time. And this guy looked up on him, and he thought it was an Egyptian. So now, we see Jesus went out in Egypt to be hid, and we see Paul was mistaken of the Egyptian. But the Lord likened us to somebody else. Let's see who it is. Let's go into Amos, the 9th chapter, and we're going to read one verse, verse 7. Amos 9 and 7. Go ahead and read.
Are ye not as children of the Ethiopians unto me? O children of Israel, saith the Lord? Have not I brought up Israel out of the land of Egypt, and the Philistines from Caphtor, and the Syrians from Ker?
Look, the Lord did all that, but what he said, are you not as the children of the Ethiopian unto me, O children of Israel? Why did he name Ethiopian? He should have said, are you not as the children of Egypt unto me? Because the Lord knew that somebody was going to take over Egypt, and the whole world is going to mistake them for Egyptian. Now let's go to the history book, the last 2 million years, and we're going to read it. Go ahead.
Islamic rule, 639 to 1798.
Islamic rule, 639 to what?
1798. During the rise of the great Islamic Arab Empire, Egypt was speedily conquered by the Arabs between AD 639 and 642.
So the Arabs conquered Egypt. Go ahead and read.
Since the 7th century, Egypt has been an Arab country.
Now, the Lord knew that these Israelites, which are called Arabs now, was going to take over Egypt. And they're going to rule Egypt. So in these last days, when we go in here and we look to see what an Egyptian looked like, this would have messed us up, sisters and brothers, because we would not have been able to tell the difference. So who did he use? He used the Ethiopians. The Ethiopians, the Cushites. And ain't nobody ever been called white among the Ethiopians. You ain't never seen a white Sam in Ethiopia because the Ethiopians, they wasn't polluted and scattered all over. They was one nation. They wasn't conquered. They are still in their land. So the Lord likened us to the Ethiopians. Now let's go into Acts the 13th chapter because we want to look at something here. Because people go here and say, look, this is where you go to find black. No, it ain't got nothing to do with black. Because all of them are black anyway. 13 and verse 1 and 2. Okay, go ahead.
Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers as Barnabas and Simeon that was called Niger, and Lucius of Cyrene, and Managen, which had been brought up with Herod the Tetrarch and Saul.
Now this is the church. Now there wasn't nobody in this church, sisters and brothers, but Israelites. Niger, that means black. He's just blacker than the rest of them. Go ahead, read the second verse.
As they ministered to the Lord and fasted, the Holy Ghost said, separate me Barnabas and Saul for the work whereunto I have called them.
Now he separated them and sent them away. Now Paul and everybody there was Israelites. The Lord separated Paul because he wanted to make him the apostle to the Gentile. But in the meantime, because Paul had destroyed the church, sisters and brothers, he had done a whole lot of havoc, had people blaspheming God, but the Lord struck him down. At this time, his ministry had not even started as far as a Christian is concerned. So let's go into Acts the 11th chapter, and we're going to see that before Paul was converted, they had killed Stephen and the church scattered. Acts 11 and verse 19. 11 and 19. Go ahead.
Now they which were scattered abroad upon the persecution that arose about Stephen traveled as far as Phineas and Cyprus and Antioch, preaching the word to none but to the Jews only.
So now these are Christians here. The original Christians. It's black folks, Israelites. And they wouldn't speak to nobody but Christians only, but Israelites only. Go ahead and read.
And some of them were men of Cyprus and Cyrene, which, when they were come to Antioch, spake unto the Grecians, preaching the Lord Jesus.
It already told you on the Jews only, so these was the Jews that was born in Greek. So they had the citizenships of Greeks, but they was Israelites. Why is it that these guys would only speak to Jews only, or Israelites only? Because of the directive that the Lord had gave them before he left. Matthew 10 and 1. Go ahead and read.
And when he had called unto him his 12 disciples, he gave them power against unclean spirits to cast them out and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease.
So when the Lord wanted to send these guys out to show that he was coming, he gave them power to heal all kind of sickness and disease. But now, I'm going to tell you what he told these guys. Skip down to verse 5. Verse 5 and go ahead.
These 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not in the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not.
Go ahead.
But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Now look, the Lord gave them a directive. Go not in the way of the Gentiles. Don't go to no city in Samaria, because the Samaritans was Gentiles too, sisters and brothers, because the Assyrian king had brought them there and scattered them and taken the 9 tribes out of the land and scattered them all over Ham, all over Africa and parts of Europe. Now, he said, but I want you to go only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, because the Lord has put his stamp on Israel under the banner of Christianity before he would let them go and bring anybody else into the church. But after that, sisters and brothers, he brought the first Gentile into the church, which was Cornelius. And because the Lord sent Cornelius, told Cornelius to send your servants down there, because Cornelius was a faithful Gentile. He prayed always. So the Lord said, I want you to send your servants down there and find one Peter. He'll tell you what you're supposed to do. Now he found Peter. And when he found Peter, Peter went with him, and he went down to see Cornelius, because Peter didn't know what they want. So let's go into Acts the 10th chapter. Acts the 10th chapter, and we're going to start at verse 25. Acts 10 and 25, because this is the first one. In fact, we're going to back up a little bit. Let's start at Acts 10 and 1, because I want to look at this and get a better clarity on it. 10 and 1. Go ahead and read.
There was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band, a devout man and one that feared God with all his house, which gave much alms to the people and prayed to God always.
Go ahead.
He saw in a vision evidently about the 9th hour of the day, an angel of God coming in to him and saying unto him, Cornelius. And when he looked on him, he was afraid and said, What is it, Lord? And he said unto him, The prayers in thine alms are come up for a memorial before God.
Go ahead.
And now send men to Joppa and call for one Simon, whose surname is Peter.
He said, I want you to send, the angel wouldn't tell him what he's supposed to do. He sent him to Peter the Israelite. He said, I want you to go and find one Peter, Joppa to find Peter. Go ahead and read.
He lodged with one Simon, a tanner, whose house is by the seaside. He shall tell thee what thou oughtest to do.
So now, he will tell you what you have to do. He will teach you how to get salvation. So now he went and he got Peter. And when Peter, and the Lord had to prepare Peter to deal with the Gentile, because he had already told him, don't deal with no Gentile. Go rather to the lost sheep of the tribe of Israel. But the Lord prepared Peter by letting the sheep down and telling Peter and preparing Peter to go and teach anybody. So now when Peter went with him, he got into the house. Let me show you what Peter said to Cornelius. We're going to start at verse 25. Go ahead.
And as Peter was coming in, Cornelius met him and fell down at his feet and worshiped him. But Peter took him up, saying, Stand up. I myself also am a man. And as he talked with him, he went in and found many that were come together.
Now, Peter told Cornelius, don't bow to me, I'm a man like you. But then when he went into the other room, he found a whole lot of people in there gathered together. And what happened? Go ahead and read.
And when he said unto them, ye know how that it is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company or come unto one of another nation.
He said, don't you know it is an unlawful thing for one that's a Jew to come in and keep company with anybody of another nation? Go ahead and read.
But God hath showed me that I should not call any man common or unclean.
So now he sent Peter down there to teach Cornelius. Skip down to verse 35. And what did Peter do? Go ahead and read.
But in every nation, he that feareth him and worketh righteousness is accepted with him.
That's when Peter found that out. Before that day, Peter thought, like a lot of the Hebrews Israelites think now, that God is only the God that's going to save Israel and nobody else. And we are supposed to teach Israel and nobody else. But God showed Peter that was not the case. So he sent Peter down to teach this Gentile. The first one he taught was an Italian because he was of the Italian man. So he taught him, sisters and brothers. So now, what happened? Peter was an Israelite. Peter and Paul looked like Egyptian. Both of these are black, sisters and brothers. Both of them. Now let's go into Acts the 8th chapter because the Lord had told him, I don't want you dealing with nobody else. But look, before Peter had brought the first Gentile, they did deal with somebody else. Acts the 8th chapter. And we're going to start reading at verse 26. Acts 8 and 26. Okay, go ahead.
And the angel of the Lord spake unto Philip, saying, Arise and go toward the south unto the way that goeth down from Jerusalem unto Gaza, which is desert. And he arose and went, and behold, a man of Ethiopia, an eunuch of great authority under Candace, queen of the Ethiopians, who had the charge of all her treasure and had come to Jerusalem for to worship.
Now, when he went out, the angel sent him down to intercept this Ethiopian. He was a treasure from Candace, the queen of Ethiopia. But what was he doing? Go ahead and read.
Was returning and sitting in his chariot read Isaiah the prophet. Then the Spirit said unto Philip, Go near and join thyself to this chariot.
Now this guy was sitting there, he was reading about Isaiah, so the angel told him, because he's a spirit, go and join yourself to him. Go ahead and read.
And Philip ran thither to him and heard him read the prophet Isaiah and said, Understandest thou what thou readest?
Do you know what you're reading? Go ahead.
And he said, How can I, except some man should guide me?
He said, how can I, except some man should guide me? Why was Philip here dealing with this Ethiopian? Why? Because the Lord had already said, don't go to nobody but Israelites. He went to this Ethiopian because this Ethiopian was an Israelite, sisters and brothers. And they're still there. They are among the Egyptians. But what are they called now? They are called Philistines. Let's look at what a Philistine look like that come from Ethiopia. This is right here. This is the picture of a Philistine, sisters and brothers. They are what they call Ethiopian Jews, strangers at home. Wonder if Israel will accept them. Because these guys knew went to worship in Jerusalem just like everybody else. Why? It's because the Lord had a commandment that these feasts, 3 times a year, all of the males of Israel had to come to Jerusalem and worship before him. 3 times a year. So this Philistine, which was in the land of Ethiopia, he had to go like everybody else. So Philip went and he dealt with this guy. Skip down to verse 35. Verse 35. And go ahead.
Then Philip opened his mouth and began at the same scripture and preached unto him Jesus.
So now Philip preached to him Jesus. He brought him into the church under the new covenant. But he wouldn't teach to nobody else until Peter brought Cornelius into the church. And then Peter and them had to deal with it. Even Paul didn't want to deal with nobody outside the church. It was a black thing as far as they were concerned. Not only but only black Israel. Nobody else. So the only reason he dealt with this Ethiopian, because this Ethiopian was an Israelite. Now let's go into Exodus and the 4th chapter and show you what happened when God was getting ready to send Moses down there, because Moses really didn't want to go. God had to convince Moses, do all kind of stuff with him before he went down and delivered Israel. Exodus 4 and verse 6. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord said furthermore unto him, put now thine hand unto thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom, and when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow.
See, the Lord had done all kind of things. Put his stick on the ground, turn it to a snake, all kind of things. He said, now put your hand in your bosom. And when he put his hand in his bosom, he take it out, leprous as snow. That means white as snow. It was white, sisters and brothers, because there's a leprosy that's clean and unclean. Go ahead and read.
And he said, put thine hand into thy bosom again. And he put his hand into his bosom again and plucked it out of his hand of his bosom, and behold, it was turned again as his other flesh.
So in other words, he turned back black. So let's look at leprosy here. Let's go on to Leviticus, the 13th chapter, and read verse 12 and 13. Leviticus 13, verse 12 and 13. Okay, go ahead.
And if a leprosy break out abroad in the skin, and leprosy cover all the skin of him that hath the plague, from his head even to his foot, wheresoever the priest looketh, then the priest shall consider, and behold, if the leprosy have covered all his flesh, he shall pronounce him clean that hath the plague. It is all turned white, he is clean.
So now if the leper break out, and it covered the whole body, all his skin from head to toe, and all his whole body have turned white, he said, then he is clean. So when Moses put his hand in his bosom, it was black. He took it out, it was white. Then he put it back in his bosom and took it out, it was black again, sisters and brothers, because the Israelites looked just like the Egyptians and the Ethiopians and all other sons of Ham. Israelites are black, and we have a rich history. So now we know what color Israel is. So the next series we're going to do is slavery, because that was announced on us also. Thank you for your time.